Schön, dass du eingeschaltet hast, genau passend zu der neuen Folge Let's Play Stanley Parable auf meinem Kanal. Wir machen heute wieder eine neue Story, in der wir andere Entscheidungen treffen. Wer die anderen zwei Folgen noch nicht gesehen hat, geht mal jetzt oben rechts an ihr auf. Dort habe ich einmal die Playlist ganz oben hinzugefügt. Ich würde es euch auf jeden Fall empfehlen. In der letzten Folge haben wir ein Baby umgebracht. Das ist einfach so bescheuert. Und ihr könnt jederzeit Wünsche, wie gesagt, welche Wege ich nehmen soll, in die Kommentare schreiben. Ich wollte ja eigentlich letztes Mal in den Raum gehen, wo ich das Telefon abnehme. Genau, da ist dieser Raum, da sind wir auch in der letzten Folge rumgegammelt. Wie gesagt, wenn ihr nicht sehen wollt, dass ich hier so durchlaufe, wenn ihr das alles gut mitbekommen wollt, einfach die erste Folge anschauen. So was, ich gehe mal hier rein.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door and got back on track.
Nö, ich gehe geradeaus.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Nein, das tue ich nicht. Oder? Ah, da sind wir halt wieder in dieser Schleife. Ah, ist ja was, ich gehe hoch. Jetzt ist es ein anderes
Into his
Büro.
manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Okay.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Nein, ich fahre da nicht. Hoch. Ich kann aber auch nicht gehen. Ich kann auch nichts anderes machen, okay. Ich kann auch nichts mehr eingeben. Okay, ich kann nur nach unten. Jetzt bin ich bin gerade komplett verwirrt.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Wo bin ich?
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Stanley.
Oh. Hallo?
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Das ist ein anderer Erzähler.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
What the hell? Ah, das ist der Raum, wo wir... Ach nee, doch nicht. Ach doch, die zwei Türen. Das ist der Raum, wo wir die Entscheidung treffen mussten. Aha. Das ist wie irgendwie so ein Museum, habe ich so das Gefühl. Freiheitsende, okay. Überwachungsraum Aufzug. Das ist einfach wie so ein Museum, wo man einfach mal alles sieht. Aha. Ah, das ist das Telefon. Von der ersten Folge, glaube ich. Und hier, okay. Exit, das klingt gut.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game.
Nein, ich drücke nicht Escape
forward, you'll be walking
und quit das Game.
Path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time...
Okay. Die quasi gesagt, ich soll Escape drücken, um das Spiel zu quitten, um mich zu retten. Habe ich jetzt nicht gemacht. 9 Minuten nehmen wir erst auf. Ist ja was, dann machen wir noch mal ein Ende.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ich will wissen, was passiert.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Nein!
he entered the door on his left.
Verdammt, ich wollte eigentlich die andere Tür nehmen, aber egal.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. But Stanley just couldn't do it.
Kann ich da
He
jetzt...
considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours.
Letztes Mal bin ich da nicht runtergefallen, wo ich da hingegangen
And in such
bin.
a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed...
Ich bin letztes Mal nicht runtergefallen.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
What? Ich schnall nichts mehr. So was, ich gehe jetzt wieder hier
Stanley
lang.
came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies
Ja,
in
das
his
kennen wir ja
stomach.
schon.
But eager to get back to business,
Ich will noch mal-
Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Zum Telefon gehen.
Stanley was so bad at following
Ich will wissen, was
directions, it's
passiert.
incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really.
Aber kann ich hier sonst noch
I
was machen?
realize that
Eigentlich
investing
nicht.
your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself. To put your work aside. To let
Genau, jetzt sind wir
her
hier wieder
back
beim
into your
Telefon.
life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one.
Ja, ich gehe ran. Wie gesagt, das kennen wir schon von der ersten Folge. Diejenigen, die es sehen wollen, einfach da nochmal reinschauen.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right.
Ich kann mich nicht bewegen.
Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley.
Mach zu!
I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. Sorry, but you're in my story now.
Ich will da nicht hin.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Ah, der war jetzt eine neue Geschichte. Guten Morgen, Mitarbeiter 427. Drücke T auf deiner Tastatur. Nein. Muss ich das? Ich mach's.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence. Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button.
Ja.
Now he's eating lunch.
Knöpfe drücken
Now
kann ich.
he's going home.
Das haben wir schon mal in der ersten Folge
He's coming
gehört.
back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Ich will nicht U drücken. Okay.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful. And each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
Ich will ehrlich gesagt nicht fernsehen.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job.
Ja.
First, he imagined that one day while at work,
Fernseher
he
ist
stepped
weg.
up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to 2 open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable.
Ehrlich gesagt will ich die Geschichte nicht.
It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time.
Ich muss die Tasten drücken, ich kann nichts machen.
How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one.
Ach du...
And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here...
Der zwingt mich jetzt wirklich seine Geschichte zu.
But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Drücke X, um bei der Arbeit zu erscheinen.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried...
Okay. Jetzt sind wir wieder hier. Ich würde sagen, ich beende hier jetzt wieder die Folge. Falls euch die Folge gefallen hat, könnt ihr mir gerne ein Like und ein Abo da lassen. Wege, die ich gehen soll, gerne in die Kommentare schreiben, wenn ihr da interessante Wege findet. Dann sage ich auch bis zum nächsten Mal. Bis dahin. Ciao, ciao.